This go around, we'll be looking at the evolution of Germany's political spectrum. This is something that, start looking at some other countries and everything like that. So, just the fact this popped up, I was like, this seems interesting. Let's see what this is. Because I know here in the U.S., we got a two-party system. But I know a lot of other countries throughout the world have multiple parties. Like multiple parties to choose from, multiple parties that take and dictate what happens within their government and the policy that's written. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at this.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about political parties? Maybe colors? If you're from the United States, did your state vote red or blue? Or maybe it's turning purple. Maybe you wish you had more color.
I hate to pause it this early in, but as an American, it just seems stupid that we identify by. We've broken ourselves up into multiple different categories. People get classified, they identify by their skin color, but now they're also identifying by their political party's color, red or blue. Like, oh, team red, oh, team blue. It's like the Intel versus AMD thing. It's for a lot more. There's a lot more weight behind the decision on it, and it's just to me, it's absolutely insane that we break and micro break things down the way we do here in the U.S. And now just seeing it visualized is kind of like, well, this is absolutely insane.
Colors to choose from. Well, unlike the US two-party system, Germany's parliamentary democracy is much more colorful. In fact, around 40 political parties received votes in the 2017 national election.
40?
Over the years, many parties have come and gone, but in this video, we'll focus on the parties currently represented in Germany's Bundestag.
Okay, quick question. With there being 40 parties to vote for, who's able to get a majority? Or a majority something that happened? Or is there a couple within that 40 that make up the broader scope of like the majority of like, okay, most people are vote for this party, or maybe even a third or fourth party, but you got these 36 or 20 something whatever ancillary parties that you have the ability to vote for. Because here you got Republican, Democrat, you got Independent. Like, you got people running for independence, like Bernie Sanders. One of the reasons why I think he didn't win outside of the Democrats just deciding to screw him over with all the primaries he won is the fact that he wasn't initially a Democrat but was an independent and only took and run as a Democrat to have a snowball's hell and chance of winning. And that still didn't work out for him. But 40? Holy crap. Like, you might have the Green Party, Libertarian, Constitutional Party, and maybe the Socialist Party, the Socialist Party here will take and actually throw somebody up or something of that nature. But yeah, it's nothing like that. Definitely not 40.
The lower house of parliament, and talk a little bit about how they got there. First, there's the Christian Democratic Union, or CDU, and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union, or CSU. These two parties, traditionally working together, represent the center-right of Germany's modern political spectrum. Some of Germany's most famous leaders have represented the CDU, including the country's two longest-serving heads of state, Chancellors Helmut Kohl and Angela Merkel. CDU and CSU voters tend to be more conservative when it comes to both economic and civil liberties issues. Another main party is the Social Democratic Party, or SPD. Historically known to champion workers' rights, the SPD represents the center-left and is the oldest party in Germany. The SPD enjoyed major success in the 1960s and 70s, producing some of Germany's most consequential chancellors and policy decisions, like Willy Brandt and his Ostpolitik, which improved relations between East and West Germany during the Cold War. In addition to Germany's two traditional parties, the Green Party, or simply the Greens, have become a constant fixture in German politics. The Green Party evolved out of environmentalist, anti-nuclear, and anti-war protest movements in the 1970s. The protest movement turned political party still focuses primarily on combating climate change.
See, that's crazy. Something like that here, you're not gonna get. You're not gonna have a political party having a seat at the table that's grown out of protest. Here, unless an independent for a third party outside of the, outside of Republicans and Democrats, like you can run as an independent and you can serve as an independent in Congress. Running for president is a different story, and I think them. I don't even believe we've got any Green Party members in Congress right now. If there is, it's maybe one or two, but it's nothing like what you might see somewhere else. But especially on our national political level, to get any kind of recognition or any kind of federal funding for the next go round, they'd have to pull in at least 7% of the national vote, and most parties outside of the big three or the big two pull between 0 to 4% most elections. So they hit that I think it's 7%, 8% mark. They'd be federally funded and for the national level, which would give more credence not only on a national level but also then at a statewide level for representation, more representation, and running in states and things like that. So the fact that something like, you got center right, center left, which both of those here, center right and center left, are getting fewer and fewer politicians on that's within the center of either of those spectrums. It's more of you're getting further out, at least what's considered further out here. So,
but has also expanded its platform to become a mainstream center-left party. Its popularity nationwide has increased exponentially in recent years, signaling its continued influence on German politics in the future. The Free Democratic Party, or FDP, has been a constant fixture of post-war German politics. Commonly referred to as the Liberals, the FDP can perhaps be best compared with the Libertarian Party in the United States. Traditionally, it served as a decisive partner of either the CDU or SPD to form a majority governing coalition. Similar to the Libertarians across the Atlantic, the laissez-faire FDP tends to be center-right, aligning itself with the CDU on economic issues, but also center-left, aligning itself with the SPD and Greens on civil liberties issues.
So very central.
Since the reunification of Germany in 1990, the East-West divide has narrowed, yet remnants of a divided Germany remain. Residual economic and social differences have forced German politics to become more fragmented over the past 30 years. The CDU and SPD have lost ground to parties on opposite ends of the political spectrum, including the far-left Die Linke, literally meaning the left, and the far-right Alternative for Germany, or AfD. The left's origins are rooted in East Germany's former Communist Party, and it enjoys especially strong support in the East, where some nostalgia remains for comprehensive, cradle-to-grave support from the state. The AfD catapulted into the national spotlight in the wake of the European migrant crisis. Its highly controversial far-right, anti-immigration platform has made it a political pariah, one that is traditionally...
So, I guess I'll get the answer here in a second, I guess, but I'm guessing they're more nationalist.
...shunned by all other parties in Germany. Historically, the CDU and SPD have dominated post-war German politics. Now, other parties from all ends of the political spectrum are challenging the status quo. As German politics become more diverse, it's important to know which parties there are, what they stand for, and how they work together in government.
So, what we saw here, but there being 40, but them showing the top 5, 6 parties. Here in the U.S., that's just for most people, something like that's unfathomable. I wish we had more, instead of just being like, oh, I believe this way and I'm on the outside of it, but I still, I have to align myself to have any chance, so I'm going with this party. and I'm more at the center or whatever, but I have to align myself with this party. I wish that wasn't the case, because having a diversity of ideas, even bad ones, is better than having, I would say, two sides of the same coin, but that's becoming less and less. I mean, it's with their policies, at the national level, it's more and more like, okay, which corporation is running these cats? On state levels, though, it's becoming more and more clear that, Jesus Christ, they're all insane. Some more than others. Just some of the laws that have been passed here, especially in regards to rights, as far as like the individual rights, just holy crap. Uh, so having outside voices that could temper some of that past what the two parties that are in power as the norm would be a nice reprieve, or it'd be a nice change, because then at least they're not going to get Democrats aren't going to necessarily have a majority, because you know one of these other parties are going to take and vote against them. But the same thing with the Republicans, if they've got a majority, well, you're not going to take and get a majority of the votes if you don't take and get people lined up with you. Or if you got even Democrats, Republicans, and like two or three other parties that take and are peppered throughout, all this, 5 of these, 6 of these, 3 of these, 10 of these, it make things a little bit more balanced here, I think, because then not only do they have to stump to their own, colleagues within the same party, but then you've got to stump outside of that to people that are in another party, that either opposite aisle or just with a different mindset. Like it would make more sense that way. I think it would. I say it makes more sense that way. It'd be for me. I'd like to see that, because then some of the idiocy that we have here might not take and happen so easily. Um, this was interesting. This was interesting. I need to take a deeper dive, because this was. I want to take and look at more in depth in some of the parties there, because just the fact that you got the center left, center right. Well, what does that center right and center left there? In Europe and stuff, I think probably is a little bit different than what's considered center left or center right here in the U.S. So what does that entail exactly? Same thing with the left in Germany. What's considered left here is just Democrats. When you've got the moderates or centrist Democrats here and centrist Republicans here that are more focused on either social or domestic issues and how to take and properly fix things, whereas you've got the tent pole type politicians, where they're single issue politicians basically, and we've got too many single issue things that are keeping everything divided, because they're not looking at the greater broad scope of things. So, yeah, interesting. This is very interesting. Hope y'all enjoyed this. Y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.